And so it is to round two, the jigsaw of news. On to our buzzers once again.
Yes.
Buzz when you know what it is. Yes, Paul and Michael.
The royal baby's arrived.
Has it?
This is the news that there is currently no news regarding the royal baby. Catherine, you share a name with the Duchess of Cambridge. You must be thrilled at this momentous, wondrous news.
I am saddened because I like it better when Kate Middleton is pregnant and then we get to criticize her baby weight. And you can't win in the media. If you're not too fat, you're too thin. And that's what everyone says about she's too skinny. Is there not a Kit Kat in the palace? Right? How the two skinniest people in England have the fattest kid I've ever seen, right? I said that, but I should not have said that. No, I think it's wonderful news that William and Kate have welcomed a little girl. No, I think it's wonderful news that Kate and William have welcomed a little boy.
And I thought the choice of name was very, very good, didn't you?
I did, yes.
Stan.
And I don't feel the same sense of excitement about this second royal baby, though I am really excited to follow tradition and question its paternity. I think that would be really fun.
There was a delivery made at the hospital this week that involved Kate. Do you know what that was?
Flowers.
William and Kate sent a breakfast delivery of croissants and coffee to the royal fans camped outside the hospital waiting for the birth. How did the pastry delivery in itself... it became as a wellspring of intrigue.
Well, it was the only news, presumably, for days.
This is true.
Hold the front page.
Yeah.
So did the international film crews interview each other about what they thought about the croissant?
Some people thought that Kate and Wills were offering up a clue as to the sex of the baby because
It's
the
a croissant.
pastries came in a box tied with a pink ribbon. What would a croissant mean? Before the birth, Wills and Kate sent out coffees and pastries for the loyal supporters camped outside the hospital. According to the Daily Express, they were decorated with pink ribbons, which might be a clue that they are expecting a girl. And that's just terrible stereotyping. It could just as easily have been a gay boy.
At the time of recording, we still don't know the baby's name. So are there any thoughts?
I hope they stick with Royal Baby.
Yeah.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's an adult. Hello, my name is Royal Baby.
Nobody's got any idea. He was born on St George's Day, but there's already a George. Yeah. It's William Shakespeare's birthday. She's married to William. What are they going to do?
Kanye?
Yes, now you're talking.
Kanye Cambridge.
Yeah.
Next stop. Next stop, Cambridge.
Good.
There's been some late-night press speculation about a possible name for the royal baby. What do you think it is?
It's Arthur.
Prince Arthur, yeah, Prince Arthur. We'll go...
Albert.
Nearly. Yes.
It's Albert.
It's Albert, OK.
Yeah.
Yes.
After the square.
But didn't Queen...
He's not your baby, he's mine.
Leave it out.
You might have a crown on your head, but that don't make you not a slag, does it?
Vince Cable says what?
Goodbye.
Vince Cable says, I'm absolutely sure we're going to bounce back.
Oh, he did say that afterwards.
Doesn't make any sense, does it? You're optimistic before, then you realise you've done shit. Stop being optimistic. Do you know what I mean? It's all gone wrong.
But that's real grit.
Just stop for a minute, please.
Yeah, it's too much, isn't it?
The miniband has resigned.
Oh, my God!
As unexpected as I am to take on the leadership of the Labour Party... and indeed the Liberal Democrats and UKIP as well, I will merge them all together into one almighty union.
Everything we said is completely irrelevant.
So out of that 7, who's left? It's like the Magnificent
Nicola
Seven.
Sturgeon.
3 women are left.
Natalie
Clyde
Bennett.
Cumberry.
Has she not resigned yet?
Leanne Wood.
Oh, come on.
So that's...
A lot of pressure, isn't there? A lot of pressure.
So
They've
who's
got
gone-
one seat.
They've
Give it
all
back to
gone
Caroline
all
Lucas.
the men have gone except Cameron.
Only the women have staying power.
You'll do anything for applause, won't you?
I'll do anything for a woman.
Shall we have a quick greedy bastards update?
Yeah. Does it come with a signature tune? Greedy bastards, greedy bastards, greedy bastards update.
Vodafone? I mean, anyone... What have they done?
Oh, is this a tax avoiders round?
Well, of course it's bound to be.
Vodafone, they haven't paid any tax?
Goldman Sachs.
Disgraceful.
Someone challenged them, the revenue, because the revenue did a deal where basically Goldman Sachs didn't have to pay interest on what they owed to the taxman, let alone what they actually owe. And the courts decided in Goldman Sachs's favour, which is absolutely extraordinary.
And Amazon?
I know this one. Look at that. I'm quite nervous. It's my first show. My dad actually rang me and went, "Don't spoil this for us." What a start of the 10. My average has been sat here going, just don't. There's a discussion going on around me, and in my head, 2 kittens are fighting over a pork chop. Yeah, they've avoided it by... It goes through Luxembourg, is it? The head office. So everything's processed here, packaged and sent off. But because the sales are processed in Europe, they avoid paying the UK tax.
But the man from Google's got to go back to Parliament to explain why he didn't appear to be telling the truth. I'm not saying he wasn't. Just Google truth, see if anything comes up.
I leave you with news that on a bridge in Aberdeenshire, Nicola Sturgeon is annoyed at another passerby shouting "Fandabadozi." The owner of one of Britain's best-known stately homes appalls visitors with his lewd behaviour. After pressure from the party, Nigel Farage agrees to take a break over summer to get fit. And after hearing about her son's historic meeting, the Queen also offers her hand to Gerry Adams.
Paul, could you give me an hand here, mate?
Yeah.
You just read out the names when they come up. Don't get me wrong, I could do it myself. I just can't be arsed.
Right, OK.
Get on with this.
Yes.
So, the Greek president...
Karolos Papoulias.
Has been talking to the head of the Socialist Party.
Evangelos Venizelos.
The leader of the far-right Golden Dawn Party.
Chrissy Avgi.
And the young, charismatic leader of the far-left Syriza Party.
Alexis Tsipras.
More commonly known as...
Sexy Alexi.
But I'll be the judge of that. Oh, yes, he's all right, actually.
Yeah. You know, he looks a bit like Ed Miliband to me.
Oh, does...
Are you a man obsessed?
No, this is Ken's attempt to find some work.
Shall we see how well the President has been getting on in his talks with these people?
I think he's going to come to the conclusion they can't stay in the euro, which most sensible people have realised about the last 2 years.
And then they're out.
They're out, and the world will carry on, and we'll all be able to afford to go back for holiday in Greece.
You've become very upbeat, haven't you?
Getting a nice sleep now, isn't you?
Yeah. Like a log.
It's good for you at your age, sleep. So, how are several newspapers referring to this possible Greek exit?
Are they taking Greece and out? Grout.
It's called Grexit.
That's it, yes.
Sounds like a type of hair dye.
Again, we bow to your superiors.
And they get the Olympic torch and then they set fire to Athens. And then we go bankrupt because everyone's exposed to Greece, to this debt. So even Ken can't be cheery about that, can you?
No, I predicted this.
12
years ago in Socialist Economic Bulletin.
Oh, my subscription must have lapsed.
Catchy name as well.
Once we sold 300.
Oh, yes. A move from the euro back to the drachma would have to be done on the quiet in the hope that nobody would notice. That should keep the situation nice and calm.
How
How did News International senior executive James Murdoch boast about the way the company was handling the scandal only a week ago?
Well, he said that they've contained the scandal and it's now in a box.
Yeah. Yes, he said, we were really able to put this problem in a box marked fuck up.
He called him a mafia don.
Yeah.
Which isn't nice, is it?
Well, they were very upset about it, and they sent me a letter of complaint.
Really?
Pinned to a horse's head.
What happens to the rest of the horse? I mean, doesn't anyone ever get a horse's arse?
I suppose it must be for more minor misdemeanours, you know.
What, a horse's arse? I think it'd be worse than a horse's head. Wouldn't you waking up next to a horse's arse?
It's like... I
think there's something personal about that.
You might say that a horse's arse was more flirtatious, though.
Flirtatious?
That's an odd word to pick.
That's an interesting window into your life.
What, according to The Observer, did Rupert Murdoch do when Gordon Brown became PM and initiated an investigation into the phone hacking?
He phoned up number 10.
After the Guizy?
Yeah.
Their source was an ex-minister who wants to remain anonymous.
Do you think, though, that Murdoch could just ring up number 10 during your time there?
I know nothing.
You know nothing? Is that why you were in the cabinet?
So what did you think of him then?
What, Gordon?
Yeah, he was all right, wasn't he?
He was the Prime Minister.
Yeah. And you can't have a more ringing endorsement than that.
The News of the World may be dead, but its wretched ghost continues to haunt. The News of the World paid a private investigator to carry out surveillance on the hacking victim's lawyer, Mark Lewis, which involved following the ex-wife of Mr. Lewis and his teenage daughter as they visited a branch of Tesco. Well, if you're looking to intimidate someone, every little helps.
It's now time for the odd one out round. Just one between you this week. Ming the mollusk, Glenn Greenwald's phone, Bert Kwok, and the E. coli 0157.
Well, I think it's called Ming the mollusk because it's 500 years old and dates back to the Ming dynasty. And scientists found it, didn't know how old it was, killed it.
Killed it.
And then discovered it was the oldest animal that they think has ever lived.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So you can get ill from eating those.
Yeah.
E. coli can make you ill.
Absolutely. Bert Kwok, is it the actor or is it the part he's playing there in the Pink Panther films as Kato? It's the actor.
It's the part.
It's
He's
the
playing
part.
Kato.
Give us a clue.
Yeah.
Containing the answer. Oh, cold. Cold.
Oh, right, OK. Yes, Kato was hidden in a fridge.
Yes.
He was hiding in a fridge in one of the films, shot in the dark, I think, and he comes, bang. So it's about people being put in fridges. The mollusk should have been put in a fridge and it would have survived. Kato jumped out of a fridge, he was all right. The E. coli bacteria is all right if you freeze it, and it's the bloke with the phone.
His phone was
the
hidden
fridge
in a
thing
fridge.
was right. Everything else was wrong, but
Yeah,
I'm still
good.
going to give you a point because I feel like we should move on.
No, but the other one out was Glenn Greenwald's phone.
No, it wasn't. Stop taking over. You can do that on your radio show, which is on at 3:30.
Have you got a radio show?
Yeah, Mondays 2 p.m.
I'm going to write that down.
The odd one out is Ming the mollusk.
Ming the mollusk.
All the others have survived a stint in the freezer, except for Ming the mollusk, who died. Glenn Greenwald,
Yes.
the former Guardian journalist who was involved in the publication of the intelligence emails leaked by Edward Snowden, regularly used to put his phone in the freezer. Why would he do that?
He was worried it would be bugged.
Or security, yes. There's an even more effective place you can put your phone to stop anyone hacking it. Any ideas?
Is that News International HQ?
A martini shaker.
Oh, OK.
E. coli 0157, one of the nastiest strains of E. coli, can survive in the fridge or the freezer. How old were you when you first got colonised by an E. coli bacterium, Janet?
Funnily enough, I had amoebic dysentery when I was 7. And I was actually in hospital.
How on earth did you get that? I thought I was...
I got it in Fulham. I grew up quite near you, Paul.
Yes.
I think it's something you sent from Fulham Palace Road to
Oh,
my
I used to send out those parcels all the time.
Ming the mollusk was an ocean quahog, a type of clam. How easy is it to date a clam?
Well, you have to get them drunk first.
There's an app called Chowder.
Yeah.
You need to watch out for chlamydia, though. It's quite... No, I've never dated a clam before.
No.
Pulled a few muscles. But if nothing else, this story brought out a certain solidarity amongst headline writers. What do you think The Independent, The Mirror and The Mail all went with for their headline?
Clam dead after 500 years. No, that wouldn't be very good, would it? Shuts.
Clam shut. Clam shell, clam shut, clam...
Tears, cry.
Yes. Clam claps mime artist.
No. Are you taking the piss? You know what it is now.
No. You do. This is what stupid people look like.
I've never seen anyone worse at charades than you.
No. That is a very good clam mime.
We got the clam bit.
Oh, sorry. The sad bit, the sorrow. What would happen? Oh, damn, it's such a...
A shame.
Crocodile. What a shame! Calamity! Ian!
No, that's terrible.
It's obviously terrible. It's a calamity. I'm not mad, am I? You all got that.
What were the tears for? How would that lead us to calamity as a pun?
That was useless.
Right, you're all going. You can be the panellist now. Come on.
The Telegraph, thousands of people lining the streets have given the relay a carnival feel. For example, someone dressed as a cod and another as a chip in Falmouth. You Brits really know how to put on a show.
You wait till you see our opening ceremony.
There'll be hundreds of chips.
Six or seven cod.
Boris in a giant cod costume.
This is the Olympic torch, which is boldly going where no Olympic torch has gone before. Namely, yes, I agree with you. Namely, Truro and Il Fracum.
Sounds deeply sexual.
Kind of like a cigar advert. Have you been to Il Fracum?
I have.
The place is laced with prostitution.
That's their new slogan now.
That's right. Come and get laid in Il Fracum.
Next, Peter Adams analyses Reginald's what?
It's got to be bonsai, isn't it?
Oak.
Peter Adams analyses Reginald's tree and finds it isn't bonsai, it's just very far away.
No, it was bonsai. It was Peter Adams analyses Reginald's bonsai. Here's Peter Adams in bonsai focus. That's his actual size, obviously. Several celebrities own bonsai trees, such as Ronnie Corbett. He likes a bit of shade.
Does Tom Cruise have a bonsai as well?
Hey, don't slag Tom off, all right?
It was just a normal-sized tree.
Leave him alone. Leave him alone. He's suffered enough.
Did you go and see him because you're going to have a remake of Twins, the Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger film?
You should remake all of Arnie's films, actually. It'd be
You have been well and truly rumbled
The
there.
Terminator.
Yeah.
I'll be back. I'm telling you that. I will be back. I'll bloody be back. I'll tell you that. I'll be back.
Big commando facing all those people. Oh, watch it, lads. Someone's going to get hurt.
Is there any other impressions you do other than me?
I do Tony Blair, but then I sound like him anyway.
Offend someone in Tony Blair's voice.
You know...
That's it, I'm offended.
In other mistake news, why have Google been suffering from rogue anuses?
Oh, yes. This is... there's a... There's a computer program which misreads old print, so arms comes out as anus, so farewell to anus. I drape my anus across her shoulder in a comforting manner. This is what's happening. They sound as if I'm making it up, but I'm not, am I, David?
You're not making it up.
No.
The scanning technology they use to turn books into e-books can't differentiate between arms and anus in certain typefaces.
Yeah.
Here's a quote from John Mackay Wilson's Tales of the Borders. Poor Janet shuddered at the words which she heard him utter, for with strange and wicked oaths he vowed vengeance on the individual who'd persecuted him, and she flung her anus around his neck and kissed his forehead. From Georgina Bragg's Matisse on the Loose, she grabbed my anus and positioned my body in the direction of the East Gallery, and we started walking. And in the complete works of Washington Irving, there is a reference to the great captain who had been one of his comrades in anus. Are there any other words that Google Books scanning technology is confused?
Yeah, it can't do tax.
Yes, it reads tax as free. No, it's burn and bum get muddled up as well, as in a patent for a carrier for an integrated circuit that talks of bum-in electrical contacts.
God, Scotland, what happens? It's bums night.
Where they all join anuses and sing Old Lang Syne.
I sort of think that most people will vote Remain if they do it again.
No, all the polls suggest people haven't changed their minds at all.
OK.
Everyone in here, if you had your time again, who would vote differently?
Well, what's that going to tell us?
I'll tell you what that is going
50% put their hands up. Well, that's conclusive.
No, what that tells us is absolutely pointless to have a second referendum, because for anyone to vote any different, they would have to admit they got it wrong the first time round. No one's going to do that.
No, people don't want to do that.
Yeah.
All that talk about, oh, if there's a second referendum, there will be 80-20 in favour of Remain, not on your Nelly. No chance. It will be exactly the same outcome, because say you weren't happy with the level of immigration 2 years ago, you're not going to be happy about it now.
No.
So if you thought 2 years ago the country was run by unelected European Union bureaucrats, well, nothing over the past 2 years would have changed your opinion on that. Well, and if you were daft enough to fall for that 350 million quid a week for the NHS law, you're daft enough to fall for something else next time round.
In the Vatican, as a gust of wind catches the Pope's vestments... Is that the right word? Vestments?
Yes.
It is the right word.
Yeah. So you're doing really well.
Yeah, you are.
You're doing really well.
But if
Finally, woman patronises man on a I got news for you.
But if you could get a move on, there's quite a few people we've got to see today.
In the Vatican, as a gust of wind catches the Pope's vestments, onlookers finally realise why he calls it Commando Fridays.
Berlusconi what in Old People's Home?
Runs brothel. He belongs in Old People's Home.
Berlusconi Tazard in Old People's Home.
Told to work.
Told to, yeah, it's community service.
Silvio Berlusconi has been sentenced to do a year's community service in an old person's home. The 77-year-old will learn to cope with a regime of bed baths, help with dressing and wiping up drool. And once he's been got ready, he'll do the same for the residents. Next, scientists discover why what?
DFS leather sofas are never full price.
Scientists discover why, but can't find how, when, or who.
It is why limoncello never tastes the same at home.
The Bernie Ecclestone turning up for his case?
Yes, it was great. He was rather baffled by the concept of revolving doors. Here he goes.
There he is, and he goes...
Here he goes. Like, no, so far, so good, you see. There we are, now. Now, just come walk out. No, no. No.
He specifically goes for the health secretary, but he doesn't mention Michael Gove at all.
Yeah.
Once. I mean, Michael Gove was in charge of as much as anyone else during the early pandemic, and he's been let off completely. It's a select committee, and the evidence is very selective. I mean, it's the most pathetic score-settling by a man, and if you go through his evidence, it just doesn't stand up. The only things that stand up are the things that we all knew anyway. All of us, even the filthy journalists and press endlessly trying to make trouble, we put all these allegations to Number 10. Number 10, oh, who's the spokesman? Dominic Cummings. He denied them all at the time. Now, oh, I've just noticed. It's... anyway. It's beyond belief.
It's the next episode of the demise of Theresa May, who's gone from being the Iron Lady to sort of flatter version, like the Ironed Lady, instead.
So nothing is happening. There was a big coup. We thought we were going to get, a new Prime Minister, but no.
It's a bit like a very dull, slow Attenborough, isn't it? Where the same wounded wildebeest just keeps limping across the plain, and the hyenas can't quite get organised enough to kill her off. Basically what it is now.
Yes, it's about the week of plotting and infighting in the Tory party. There was speculation this week that Theresa might demote Boris Johnson in a reshuffle. Why might that not work?
He said he won't be demoted.
That's absolutely right. According to The Telegraph, allies of Boris warned that if May tried to demote him, he would just say no.
We learned more about the principal stance Boris Johnson took when he decided to back Brexit last year. What was that?
Well, he confessed to someone that he changed his mind and became a leaver just to annoy Cameron.
Yeah.
Sorry. He confessed it in an interview.
Yes, well, according to the Mail, so... Do you call that an interview?
Can we edit that bit out so people believe it?
Yeah. Well, according to a reputable paper...
Can we edit that bit out as well? It was to Lord Adonis.
Lord Adonis.
Can you imagine being called Lord Adonis?
Hey.
It's quite a lot to live up to in the morning.
Lord Adonis. That's my safe word. I'm only joking. You're never safe with me.
They're not New Labour anymore. No. I hadn't noticed that. They're going to rebrand.
Yeah, Labour.
Labour Classic.
They couldn't call themselves New Labour when Blair left. It's like when Mike Nolan left Bucks Fizz. They couldn't call themselves Bucks Fizz anymore.
Labour could go with Bucks Fizz. Champagne socialists, but slightly diluted with orange juice. And the Lib Dems, what are they?
I think they're going to sit this election out. It's probably...
They've got a note from their mother.
Yeah. I think they'll play the sympathy vote to a certain extent. Just have Nick Clegg topless holding a puppy, just looking into the camera like that.
According to the Sunday Times, what has David Cameron decided to do?
Resign.
No.
Go on holiday.
No, this is about the TV debates.
He's going to debate with Nigel Farage. He's going for the toughest one first.
That's right. Cameron is going to take on Farage. According to the Sunday Times, Cameron wants the TV debates to be in a 2-3-5 formation. So that's Cameron Miliband, Clegg Miliband Cameron, and Farage Cameron Clegg Miliband with Yaya Toure behind the strikers. Thank you for laughing. I don't know what that meant.
This is the exciting news that everything is open except it isn't.
Yes, this is the now familiar confusion surrounding the government's COVID advice on travel. What is the government's position on foreign travel?
It's a traffic light, and it's a new system from the government, and there's red, white and blue. And anybody who disagrees with it should probably be shot.
Yes, very good. Yes.
Red don't go, amber don't go unless it's an absolute family emergency, and green you can go. And I think there's only, is it Portugal and the Falkland Islands or something on
That's
green?
exactly right. Amber also, if you're an Instagram influencer, you're allowed to go.
Oh, is that right?
Yes, it is.
That's what
Was that one of the exceptions?
Yes, because that's a central business.
Oh, is that?
Yes, it is.
Oh, my God, so we all need to sign up to being Instagram influencers and then we can go on holiday?
Like you're not an Instagram influencer. You are.
OK, is this when I can put my Instagram account out and ask everybody to follow me?
I mean, listen, very best of luck. Go on.
Good evening. Welcome to Have I Got News For You? I'm Alexander Armstrong. In the news this week, there's evidence that now the election's over and done with, someone's got a lot of presents to wrap up for his generous Russian donors.
Not to mention all his children.
In Maidstone, one rookie reporter hasn't been told that the venom in Dominic Raab's spittle can be deadly. And as a last throw of the dice on the campaign trail, Jeremy Corbyn utters the magic words to summon up the legendary beardy man of Barnsley.
The Tories have had 9 years to fund our NHS properly.
On Ian's team tonight is a comedian who did Hispanic studies at university. Presumably he got a 2-1. Please welcome John Richardson. And with Paul tonight is the ex-Tory minister who voted Remain but is backing Brexit. The sort of dithering that may explain why she and Jeremy Corbyn are no longer in politics. Please welcome Nicky Morgan. And we start with the bigger stories of the week. Ian and John, take a look at this.
Oh, right, hang on, here he comes. 5 seats, that's optimistic. That's your own personal exit poll. And there's Boris and the blonde he's in love with, himself. Well, didn't see that coming. Big win for Boris. Silence. Yes, but everyone a bit stunned. For those of us who stayed up all night, I think John Curtis just ruined it. And if you're going to tell us the result at 10 o'clock, why stay up? I had a friend who didn't watch at all, woke up and saw Boris Johnson saying, I won a big majority, and was delighted, because thought he was lying, obviously. And it had been a good night, but sadly, it wasn't true. And it does prove the old adage, you know, you can fool most of the people most of the time if you lie enough.
Good news for the Loch Ness Monster as well.
Good news for the Loch Ness Monster?
Yes, great news. It's been a great night for the Loch Ness Monster.
In what sense?
Well, because...
It's going to get Ruth Davidson to accompany it round the loch.
This is exactly right. If the SNP had reached 50 seats, Ruth Davidson had promised to swim naked in Loch Ness, and they only got 48. What did Boris say last night had given him?
Just a massive boner. Absolute stonk on.
He said in a speech it had given him a stonking mandate.
That used to be an aftershave, didn't it?
What's amazing, you have to look at it from Corbyn's point of view, the only warning we had, really, was all the times it's happened before and all the people who said this is exactly what would happen. So sometimes you've got to hold your hand up and say, who was to know? Apart from all the people who knew.
And literally everyone got it wrong. Even the most overexcited Tories thought they were going to get a few.
It's difficult for them to judge a system where it really should be... The number of MPs you have should be reflected by the number of memes that are retweeted on Twitter. Because up until 5 to 10, I thought, this is going to turn out all right, you know.
Yeah, well, Twitter had a big Labour win.
Yeah.
But as so often with Twitter, they're wrong.
What else does Suella Braverman want to ban?
Homeless people? Tents. People using tents.
That's right. I mean, if she was just trying to ban camping, I'd be behind her.
But then you'd have to word that bill very carefully.
You would. You would.
There'd be a lot of pantomime to be out of business.
That's right.
I'm on in Richmond this year, by the way.
Yes, she is trying to ban tents. She said sleeping on the streets is a lifestyle choice. Nobody in Britain should be living in a tent. It's a surprise that more people don't choose to live in opulence.
Homelessness is a lifestyle choice. It's the last time I buy a big issue. If it can help the homeless, I help you live your dream more, like bugger off. Loving it.
If, as a result of his presidency, the world does indeed end, won't it be marvellous to think it happened in our time?
He might change what the word presidential means. Like, in a few years, you'll be going, oh, my uncle fell over and banged his head on a curb. He's been rendered completely presidential.
He dismissed the head of the FBI this week.
Comey, James Comey?
Mr. Comey was dismissed.
Comey over.
Because he was...
investigating his connections with Russia.
And now there's an inquiry. Who's been put in charge of the inquiry?
They've got a special prosecutor.
A former
head
of the
FBI.
And then when you open up that special prosecutor, there'll be another little special prosecutor, and open up, there'll be another and eventually a little bloke saying, did you do it?
Robert Mueller?
He's Robert Mueller, who was the former FBI director. James Comey's done something to get his revenge on Trump. Any idea
He has
what it is?
produced his memo.
Oh,
he
yes,
kept a
he
memorandum.
didn't he?
Yes. After Trump tweeted that he had kept, or suggested he might have kept a recording of the dinner that took place in February, Comey then came back to say, well, I kept a memorandum.
And he said, will you drop the Russian stuff? So basically, he accused him of literally trying to interfere in the process of justice. And the Americans don't like that very much. So it is all going wrong.
Yeah.
And then the best bit was Putin, who was like, oh, if you want the transcript, we've got one.
How did Trump's administration respond to Comey's leak?
With confusion.
With incredible confusion. According to online news website Daily Beasts, one official said, I felt like running down the hallway with a fire extinguisher.
They're serving their food out of bowls.
That's the word on the street.
Yeah.
Well, it's not a sit-down afterwards.
No, so afterwards, they're standing up.
Yes.
And, sorry, I'm trying not to get as animated.
Man, it's important to discuss
You're the
this.
person who's really gripped by this story.
I just can't believe you're serving food in bowls. Like, imagine you've got a glass and a clutch.
Yeah.
Where do you put your bowl under your chin and just like a trough?
Do you know what the term for this meal is?
No.
Bowl food.
Is a queen going to stand
stand up and eat it out of a bowl?
No.
No, she'll have a footman chucking cheesy
not.
watches at her.
It might be a misprint. Prince Charles organic lentils. It could be bowel food.
In a way, all food is bowel food,
You're
you'd hope
right.
at some stage.
Yes. It's all a matter of timing, isn't it?
It is timing.
It's the
Anonymous
hackers.
hackers. Are they anonymous? I don't know where they're from.
No, we do know where they're from.
Are they from? Where are they from?
They are from North Korea, it turns out.
Has that been proven?
Not totally proven. But they're not going to sue me, so I think... No, I think it probably is North Korea. There's something in the code, when it was unhacked, indicated that it might have been from North Korea.
Giles, you know way too much about this.
Well,
I think you were
only
involved.
because I did chair the Cybersecurity Awards quite recently. I can't tell you where or when.
Is that security or Alzheimer's?
You know what the virus was called? It was called WannaCry. It demands money before you can get your computer files back.
Oh, it was all in Bitcoins as well.
Bitcoins?
Bitcoins.
No, we've left the European market. No, Bitcoin.
There's been a sort of failure of the government here, hasn't there? Or?
They were warned, I mean, at least 3 years ago, that XP needed updating. But the trouble with the NHS, it spent a lot of money on IT already, about 12 billion, for a system that didn't work. So essentially it doesn't have any money left, so they didn't pay for the update.
We've not upgraded the security properly, and we've been running the NHS on Windows XP, so people have probably been told that they're dying by a helpful paperclip.
I like the idea that as a hacker, you would target for a ransom the NHS.
Yeah.
One of the few world organisations you know doesn't have any money.
Probably given Jeremy Hunt some ideas about how to get money out of it. What must it be like being Jeremy Hunt at the moment? Imagine he goes into hospital. He'll be the first person to have a sprained wrist treated anally. Sorry, Mr. Hunt, this is going to involve a bit of a run-up. Luckily, our computers are down, so there's no record of what's about to happen to you.
This bit of malware was actually stolen from the American National Security Association, you know, which is a misnomer.
Well, I think President Trump gave it away.
Does anyone know what the Russians have said about it? Exactly that.
Well, they're claiming it's not them, because the Russian Interior Ministry was targeted.
That was a decoy.
You're so clever, Giles.
These are just things I picked up at the Cybersecurity conference.
The Russians have said this completely doesn't concern Russia.
Watching Cummings give evidence, it's terrible because Cummings has learnt absolutely nothing. He's equally arrogant. And then he starts calling other people liars. And you think, you're the man who gave us the story about having your eyesight tested in a car when you were breaking the rules. He still doesn't admit he was breaking the rules. I just thought, I don't care if I agree with everything else you say, you're a liar.
I mean, I must admit, you're right. If this government goes on much longer, I wouldn't actually mind dying that much.
When he was giving evidence, I don't know what a body language expert would say, but he kept his hand in front of his mouth most of the time. I think probably even later he'll try and deny it was him talking.
When he first was in the middle of the COVID thing, Paul asked at one point, why on earth is this man, who's entirely unelected, dictating policy on vaccines, or indeed on lockdown, or anything else? It beggars belief that he could sit there writing WhatsApp message saying, let's get rid of Matt Hancock, let's sack the head of the NHS, let's sack everybody. Says who?
But in your current guise of a 1950s East End gangster, I think you should pay him a visit.
Yeah, I'd like to go round and give him an eyesight test.
Why does the King think we should be playing the bagpipes?
He's finally lost it. Oh, it's very good for your breathing.
Yes.
It's really good for your lungs.
Yes, exactly, that's right. No, it's good for your health. A Scotsman advised that beginners may wish to find a large field to play in. But I prefer a panel show to practice on.
Oh, yeah.
So, there we go. Yeah, it's really good for your health.
While you're recovering from
I was wondering why we'd never done that before.
In a desperate bid to claw back Sunday evening viewers from Downton Abbey, the BBC auditions a new weather girl.
After the sad death of the world's smallest man, someone inquires whether his clothes will be on eBay.
And outside a surgery in London, a Strictly Come Dancing researcher awaits treatment after catching a glimpse of a naked Anne Widdecombe.
Yes, this is the news that a number of female mayors has for the first time overtaken the number of mayors called Andy. So, what did nobody see coming?
Well, everybody saw a Tory rout coming, and it was indeed a Tory rout. They lost 500 councillors, they lost the West Midlands mayoralty, they lost the Blackpool South by-election, and they lost their passion for life, Bill.
And at the end of the evening, the Lib Dems had won more councillors than the Tories. Now, that's bad.
And they had a sort of defection as well, didn't they? Yeah.
They did.
Natalie Elphicke.
Yes, let's have a look. Yeah, there she is.
At the last minute, just before Prime Minister question time, she defected. She crossed the floor, which is amusing because she's the MP for Dover and she's used to people crossing her.
And also, she was about as welcome as a surprise visit from Matt Hancock.
Well, you sound like you're speaking from experience, so...
A lady never kisses and tells.
No.
I think there's quite a lot of people not really looking forward to the hugging thing who've been rather enjoyed not having to.
Have you enjoyed not having to?
Yes, I have. I'm getting a taser now. I tell you who I am going to hug.
Yeah.
A hoodie. Because I've always thought that was a jolly good bit of advice. I don't really know what it means, but, you know, I'm going to...
That was David Cameron's idea.
It was, wasn't it?
I mean, but it's just alliteration, isn't it? Hug a hoodie, kiss a killer, grope a German. You know, it's...
They're all policy now.
Basically, Ryan Giggs has spent an awful lot of money to ensure that he's become world famous for stuff other than football.
Yeah.
But people still might be sued for telling people that it was him, so...
Yeah, well, that's right. The MP, John Hemming, he said that apparently 75,000 people named Ryan Giggs on Twitter. It's not possible to arrest them all. Well, I mean, it's worth a go, though, isn't it? I mean, well, the thing is, the injunction is still in place.
That's right.
That's the thing.
Absolutely.
Despite the people keep going blabbing it out, there's a legal expert, Joshua Rosenberg.
Yeah.
This is what he had to say about it, right?
Well, the law is clear. There is still a court order in force which says that we can't name Ryan Giggs as the person who brought these proceedings.
But at least we can say his name, though, because I was getting so fed up. Every newspaper, every day, it was like, Imogen Thomas has been having sexual liaisons with a man who cannot be named. It's like, what, Voldemort?
Yeah.
I sort of see why he did it as well, Ryan Giggs. Because you get the superintelligence, he knows that if his identity was known, then people would know not only who he was, but also that his marriage was on the rocks. And at that point, John Terry would be round his house like a sex-crazed whippet.
Yes, the worst-kept secret in Britain is finally out. Lawyers are a complete waste of money. As the row unfolded, thousands of Twitter users named Ryan Giggs in what the Daily Mail called one of the biggest acts of civil disobedience in modern times. Stop that, Syria, lightweights.
Tittlecott Bridge in West Yorkshire.
Yes. That's nice.
Marathon bars, the English Channel, and the Co-op's ambient sausage roll.
Ambient sausage roll. Well, the English Channel was recently in the news this week because I think it's the French or somebody wants to rename it the English Pond. So is that things about being renamed? Like Marathon has famously become Snickers, isn't it, over the years? Gradually, it started off being Sarathon, and it became Snarathon. So it's about name changes, isn't it? All these have been considered for name changes, but the only one that's changed his name is Marathon. It's as simple as that.
No.
The channel hasn't been renamed.
No, right, yes, the channel
English
hasn't
Channel.
been renamed. They've
Yeah.
all been renamed,
Yeah.
apart from the English Channel, which the EU planners want to rename the Anglo-French Pond as part of an effort towards breaking down national barriers by creating new regions of Europe.
Well, that should improve relations between us and France forever.
In 1990, marathons were renamed Snickers to bring them into line with the global brand. It was originally named after a horse belonging to the owners. Ironically, the horse had been gelded, so no longer contained nuts. So. Ticklecot Bridge, no one followed the story of Ticklecot Bridge? It recently saw its name restored to the more traditional Ticklecock Bridge.
Yes.
After angry local residents launched a campaign. Local newspaper The Pontefract and Castleford Express said the council had been embarrassed because ticklecock is a sexual innuendo.
No, it's not an innuendo.
No.
It's a statement of fact.
And which group was particularly outraged?
Pedants.
No, the Castleford area voice for the elderly.
Their slogan is "Aye."
On to the ambient sausage roll.
Ambient sausage roll, yeah.
Managers at the Co-op have agreed to remove the description ambient from its sausage roll labels after admitting they don't know what it meant. They have all been renamed, apart from the English Channel, which EU planners want to rename the Anglo-French Pond. In Castleford, residents fought a campaign to retain the name of local landmark Ticklecock Bridge.
Yeah.
Of course, there are a number of other places with names that would make most people embarrassed to live there. There's Shitterton in Dorset, Twat in Shetland, Swindon.
However, Ed Balls was remaining optimistic.
Mr. Balls, thank you very much for joining us. First of all, there's been this story going the rounds on Twitter and all the rest of it that you've been defeated. Have you heard anything about your result yet or not?
David, the ballot boxes haven't even arrived in the count. And they've got to be counted, and then we'll get the results. So I think maybe you should spend less time on Twitter and more time reporting the results when they're actually declared.
Let's just see how
that's
it
the
panned
Shadow
out for
Chancellor.
It's so good of him to explain the whole process. They get the votes in and then they count them. Well, thank you, Ed. Thank you for your insight, you little expert.
He's an economist. He's good with figures.
Should we see how it panned out for him?
Ed Balls, in the last few minutes, as Shadow Chancellor, lost his seat to the Conservatives.
Is that an R?
No. No, I think
this
some
is
people
the Shadow Chancellor.
No, some people were genuinely surprised, I think. There were some people who didn't know.
I'm sorry. I thought it was a wave of empathy.
Is David Dimbleby going to call him and go, have they been counted now, Ed?
And we start with the bigger election stories of the week. Ian and Romesh, take a look at this.
Trying to get out of the country. No, this is the race to get the first result in while people are still awake.
So woman can't count. Just devastated. Ed Miliband looking chilled out.
They're shouting at him.
Oh, so relaxed. You're an immigrant? No.
This is the throne.
The legend.
This way. And it's the winner.
I hate you.
Oh, there's balance. These are all people who've gone. Liberals, Hughes, poor old Danny Alexander.
Have I won?
No. No, he stayed in as punishment. And then it's goodbye. It was quite exciting because everyone said it was unpredictable, meaning they'd got it wrong. So we had this exit poll when it came out, which more or less told you what the result would be, which is a Tory win, except they'd understated the win. And then everyone spent the rest of the evening going, well, if this poll's right, oh, God, it is right.
I'm just going to step to see if the exit poll's right. I know, I've stayed up for no reason.
They had Paddy Ashdown on at the beginning of the evening saying, if that exit poll's right, I'm going to eat my hat. Typical Lib Dem. The end of the evening, they gave him a hat. Did he keep his promise?
You're absolutely right, Ian.
It was the election.
Yeah, it was.
It was the election.
It was
the election. Oh, I think we've nailed that question.
I think there's quite a lot of people not really looking forward to the hugging thing who've rather enjoyed not having to.
Have you enjoyed not having to?
Yes, I have. I'm getting a taser now. I tell you who I am going to have.
Yeah.
A hoodie. Because I've always thought that was a jolly good bit of advice. I don't really know what it means, but, you know, I'm going to...
That was David Cameron's idea.
It was, wasn't it?
I mean, but it's just alliteration, isn't it? Hug a hoodie, kiss a killer, grope a German. You know, it's...
They're all policy now.
Is there any jokes left about Brexit? I don't know. I mean, that's the one thing that's run out now, isn't it?
Let's hope so. Well, given that you've come as Mrs Thatcher...
That's how old-fashioned this feels now. In the history of the world, has there been any process that has been sort of so kind of self-sabotaged and useless?
You've got
and
a
back
fly
to
on you.
square one?
You've got a fly here.
Have I? Oh my God, a Mike Pence.
I'm so sorry, mate. Every now and again we get a pro-Brexit fly.
I mean, where was I? I was...
we were establishing a no-fly zone.
Come on! Wow! Yes! Quality marks on that joke there, Paul.
No, after 30 years, Ian has justified his appearance in the programme.
Thank you for watching.